The Fourth and Goal Podcast.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama!
Strebler dials it up. End zone! Touchdown!
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles! Touchdown!
There ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Like, hit that subscribe button and share.
And welcome to the Fourth and Goal Podcast here on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I don't know if we've ever done an episode before 10 o'clock at night. So here it is first. And this will get uploaded after, obviously, the recording. But I'm here joined by Andrew Burns. Justin Pollington will be here. He's still, let's say Justin had a crazy night last night, to say the least.
It was a busy day. It was a busy day.
Yeah, we won't. Well, obviously there was Maction, so he was tuned into that.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the country should have been.
That's the only thing that matters.
It really is. Like, I know we had some crazy stuff, like the NFL trade deadline, and the election, I guess.
The most important part was the committee rankings.
Oh yeah,
about that. That's all I was watching last night. I didn't know there was anything else going on.
Yeah. We'll get into the college football playoff rankings, but first we wanted to break, and obviously we'll talk about some NFL stuff as the episode goes on for our NFL viewers and fans out there, even though it's the B tier league. College football is S tier, and college basketball and NBA are A tier.
Not the NBA, but
right. The NBA, dude, it's been low key. The Pistons back-to-back wins over the Nets and Lakers. See how they do.
They have 3 wins yet?
Yeah, they do have 3 wins.
Oh, they beat their 2 months early from last year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Do you know when they won their 3rd game last year?
No, it was what, December?
December 31st.
Yeah. Well,
and they won their first 2.
Yeah, no,
so they went 2 months without a win.
We'll see what happens with those lovely Pistons. JB Bickerstaff might just be the next head coach to lead an NBA dynasty. Kidding. With the second apron stuff, there's not going to be an NBA dynasty for a while. And I don't think there's going to be a college football dynasty for a while because, wow, this weekend, I don't know if it taught me a lot, but some notable schools went down, like Texas A&M, like Iowa State, like Clemson, like Kansas State, like Pitt. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about that Ohio State Penn State matchup. It was big noon kickoff, college game day, big noon. About everyone in the media was at this game in State College, Pennsylvania, and Ohio State. They left 14 points on the board. Well, actually, here's what I'll say. Even though Ohio State won by 7, I feel way better about Ohio State coming out of this game than I do about Penn State. I don't know if Penn State, while they're probably going to make the college football playoff because they should finish the season at 11-1. We'll see. I think Ohio State honestly should have won this game by multiple scores. I know Penn State takes a 10-0 lead early, but it's a pick 6 and about the only good drive from Penn State in this game. I think that we saw some Will Howard vulnerability, obviously throwing that pick 6 and then the fumble in the end zone, but he also kind of willed this team back to winning this game as well. The defense played well for Ohio State. I thought having Brandon Inniss kind of pop out a little bit in this game for Ohio State, getting a touchdown on the board, was crucial for them to have another weapon or another option to go to, as it's kind of between him and Carnell Tate for that wide receiver 3 spot. They were able to run the ball. And the biggest storyline of it, Ohio State's offensive line with Donovan Jackson at left tackle looks kind of fixed for the time being because Penn State's a legit defense. They got a legit pass rush. They've been good at stopping the run this season and kind of holding teams. And Penn State, they weren't able to really stop Ohio State when it came to running the football.
No, I mean, I think when you say, I have a hard time just not believing. I don't believe in either of these teams. Sorry, I had to get my train of thought going there.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Penn State, you said Ohio State left 14 points on the board. I think so did Penn State.
Yeah.
2 drives within the 5, throwing an
Yep.
interception and a turnover on downs. It's like, especially when you're on the 1 and you have 2 of the best running backs in the country in your backfield and you can't punch the ball in. It's like, I'm just, neither of these teams I feel like are as good as they should be. But also, it's hard not to respect them, if that makes sense.
I think Ohio State's legit. I've been kind of saying it. I think, honestly, even though they lost that game versus Oregon, you know what? That Oregon's got the best receiving core in the country. I don't think anyone's going to be able to change my opinion on that, especially the way Trayshawn Holden played against Michigan this past week. I don't think, and you know what? That secondary had a really tough matchup. Penn State was only able to get 3 receptions out of its actual receivers. And you know what? They stepped up. They stepped up big, especially with that Davison and Bignosin interception in the end zone. I mean, that was just a hell of an effort because I thought Trey Wallace initially had it, and then it wasn't him. It was Igbinosin to get the interception. And that was
realized they only had 3 completions to receivers.
Yeah. I mean, they only had 5 targets total. But, like, that's the problem with Penn State. Just the limited ability at the receiver one doesn't help Drew Aller's development because he gets a lot of shit thrown at his name, dude. He doesn't really, other than Tyler Warren, he doesn't really have anyone to throw the ball to. And Tyler Warren was getting locked down by Sonny Styles and Cody Simon, Lathan Ransom. Like, Ohio State has these, like, bigger-bodied safeties or small, weak-side linebackers that match up really well against tight ends because of the speed, and then also they're physical enough to hang with them as well. So that matched up really well for Ohio State. And I just think, like, I don't know. I honestly, I think Ohio State's the number 2 team in the country. I'm going to be completely honest. That's how I feel. Especially after how Georgia played against Florida.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to say, I think I put Georgia above, but they both played like B- games over the weekend. And I
would say Ohio State, like, obviously it was not an A+ game, but I'd say it's a B. It's a B. I'd say Georgia played like a C+.
Fair. I can't get behind Will Howard. I cannot support him to take the team to the promised
I totally agree, but I think there's enough weapons around him and enough there outside. Like, this might be a Coker situation or even a Bennett.
He can stumble his way,
or even a Stetson Bennett situation. I think Stetson Bennett's an overall better quarterback than Will Howard.
Eli Manning situation.
Yes. More like a Nick Foles situation.
True.
Like, I'm just saying there is enough talent around this Ohio State team where they obviously, if this team had a Cam Ward or, you know, one of those elite upper echelon quarterbacks that were like
Dylan Gabriel.
See, I don't know. Like, obviously Gabriel's objectively a better quarterback than Howard by like how much. I don't know how much he really is. I do think Dylan Gabriel is playing well, and I'm not going to discredit him for that. But he's got one of the offensive lines played better and better every single week, and he's got the best receiving core, so he should be playing that well.
I just had to get that dig in. I understand.
Yeah. Like, I totally get it, but if we're going to deep dive and look at it,
I know
from all perspectives. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Dylan Gabriel's playing like a top 5 quarterback in the country right now.
He probably would put up similar stats if he was at Ohio State.
Yeah, and that's not to discredit him. And I don't think, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Will Howard's terrible. Like, I think he is a top, like, 30-ish quarterback in college football.
30 out of 130 isn't that bad.
Yeah. But, like, I'm just saying, like, I think this offense would have a lot more potential with McCord, but I think also that McCord was staying, they wouldn't have hired Chip Kelly. So,
no.
But yeah, I think all in all, dude, I don't really care about the quarterback of Ohio State because they have so much around them, dude. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. True. I will say I was a little. I mean, Penn State's offense is really weird, but I was kind of disappointed by the pass rush in the ability to get tackles for a loss from Ohio State. You're only able to get 3 total. I mean,
they've been disappointing all year.
That's the one
nothing new.
Yeah, it's just the one area where I'm like, man, dude, you guys could be a lot better right here. But I
Mhm.
think Hamilton and Tyleik Williams are great in the middle. I just Sawyer and Tuimaleu or Tumalau or JTT, shorten it up, has been kind of disappointing.
Tiamalao, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, they've been underwhelming.
For how much hype they have, they've had around them the last 3 years.
Yeah,
They haven't produced.
No.
There's no Chase Young coming down the pipe or a Bosa,
no, not at all.
which they were both pegged to be that.
Right. Do we want to let's get into this Pitt SMU game just because it's another ranked matchup that happened, dude. SMU might be the best team in the ACC. I seriously think if they were to play Miami tomorrow, it'd be a really good game. Both teams have high-powered offenses. Pittsburgh, they kind of scored in garbage time. Like this was 11 to 48 before the backups come in and they have different players and Pitt
it was 31-3 going into the half.
Right. Like SMU's offense, Brashard Smith, ever since this offense has switched to Kevin Jennings, which Kevin Jennings was questionable coming into this because he had some sort of rib injury.
Mm-hmm.
He was questionable coming in, but dude, with SMU with Jennings at quarterback, which I was completely wrong because I thought this team was going to be stone all the way. He played really good in the American last year. And not the same quarterback. They struggled against Nevada. And SMU's only loss is to an undefeated BYU team. Keep that in mind. A 3-point loss. I believe that game was in Provo too. No, this game was home. Never mind. It was in Dallas. But I mean, you get a win over Louisville. You get a win over Pitt now. Duke's like a quality ACC opponent. Like they might be legit. Now they do have to finish out their schedule with Boston College, Virginia, and Cal. And you could get caught against Boston College or Cal, but I really like this SMU team, and I do think there's a very high chance we're going to see an SMU Miami ACC championship game.
I think that's inevitable. It's not if, it's when. Which is
the first Saturday of December. Not why did I almost say October? October it was a month ago. Well, it'd be the first Saturday of December because the conference championship games are played.
Yeah,
but
I think it's definitely going to be. I mean, they're the two best teams by far. And who thought SMU was going to be the best team, one of the best teams in the ACC? I guess I did.
I think when you look at their schedule preseason, you thought, you know what, this team could go in 12-0.
This is true. They've not had.
But I mean, the surprises of Pitt being, I know Pitt looked really bad in this loss, but up and coming into this game, I mean, they were playing well. Who knew that BYU was going to be a top 10 team?
Who knew BYU? Who knew Florida State was going to step off as hard?
Also the opposite of Florida State's going to suck. In
that game against Cal ain't no slouch, but I don't see a loss for them the rest of the season.
No.
Boston College, not afraid of them. They've handled moving quarterbacks already. They'll be okay.
Yeah.
This
SMU team is legit. It's legit.
100%.
Let's move to Florida, Georgia. The game in Jacksonville. Now, Georgia would end up pulling away at the end, 34-20, but there was a time where Florida was leading in this game.
Yes.
They led
scary moment
13-6 at halftime. And you know what? If Florida didn't have to go away from Lagway, I think they would have probably pulled out this game. Obviously, it would have had to been played out, but they would go to their third string, Aiden Warner, and it doesn't really work out too well for them. They had some running success, but man, they weren't able to really do too much. I think Florida, though, in terms of the Billy Napier conversation, dude, I hope he keeps his job because the ability for Florida to fight this season, I know they're not wins, but coming into this season, we didn't know. I mean, other than the Miami loss, Texas A&M you fought with and Tennessee you fought with very well. And you were able to pick up wins against UCF, who's not as good as we projected them to be, but it was a convincing win. And then Kentucky as well, who ain't a half bad SEC team as well. I think Napier, he should deserve to keep his job. That's how I honestly feel. I think if Florida could potentially get to a bowl game, which is going to be a tough road. But if you can catch LSU or Ole Miss and obviously handle Florida State, I mean, you're going to be 6-6.
He's just keeping the Florida seat warm for Lane Kiffin to go there. It's okay.
Lane Kiffin's not going there. Well, maybe.
That would be arguably a step up for him.
Well, it would. I'd like to think it would actually be SMU's head coach Rhett Lashley. Maybe Pat Narduzzi takes a bigger job somewhere.
I don't see Pat Narduzzi going anywhere except for like a slight step up. Like
Stoops at Kentucky, I still think has like big brand potential.
I would just say if Diaz is going to get a job somewhere, and that's probably where I'd see Narduzzi going if he went anywhere. Like
where?
Duke is a slight step up from Pitt.
Is it? I'd say like they're literally the same. Like they both had their good years. I'd say Pitt probably has honestly a higher ceiling than Duke. When you think about it, just because they're in a big city and Hines is good NIL valuation. So
this is fair. I don't see any of the big teams.
I really don't see him going. That is fair.
His only opportunity to probably move up in the world was probably to try and get the MSU job.
I mean, Jimmy Chadwell might go back to the South and go coach at Florida. I mean, we don't know. We have no idea what's going to come.
I do think Prime to Florida State is probably a lock in the next couple of years, though.
Yeah,
No, Prime goes to Florida. Just take Napier's job and then totally just shit on Florida State.
I think Napier's a solid coach, and
he is. It's a shame that he works at Florida.
Yeah, and Florida, it's been tough, man.
They don't give teams time down there to do anything.
Well, you'll never get time in the SEC if you have a high ceiling. In Georgia terms of things, dude, this is what I mean. There's two parts of why I think Ohio State's the number 2 team. I thought they played pretty well against Penn State, got it done, and I think they should have won by multiple scores in that game. But also, I think Georgia stinks. I don't think they stink. I just don't think they're the number 2 team in the country. But dude, this Carson Beck interception problem is actually concerning me because this is this isn't just like, oh, he only had that one game like JJ McCarthy against Bowling Green. Oh, it was only one game with 3 picks. No, it's been multiple games with multiple interceptions. It's a problem. In Georgia, when they play against a team that's going to be able to play against them all 4 quarters and not play a third string quarterback, it's going to be tough. You got Ole Miss. Ole Miss is pretty good defensively on the line of scrimmage. Tennessee, I mean, they might be one of the best defensive teams in the country, and the only reason why Tennessee's been able to probably win games this year, that and Dylan Sampson. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I see, especially with Georgia going to Oxford next week, I see an upset there. I see a potential upset there. I'll say that. Obviously, we'll have to get injury reads and see if there's any crazy line movement or whatever. But I don't really like Georgia. I'm going to be completely honest here. Not a fan.
Yeah, they're not Georgia that we've seen the last couple of years.
No,
like Beck is not. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is.
Georgia played a really easy schedule last year.
Does Michigan have the same problem this year?
Yeah, well, there's more variables to it. I mean, not having Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers and then losing Colby Young and Ra Thomas this season due to them not being half decent citizens. It's
That's
obviously
Georgia.
A problem.
They don't recruit
decent
citizens.
Todd Lumpkin was a way better OC than what Mike Bobo's been as well.
That's very accurate.
I think that's also part of it. Like, I just think it's not all there for Beck, and if you look at a lot of the throws that Beck made last year, it was a lot of schemed up stuff. And we say this about a lot of college QBs. So, a lot of stuff is schemed up for the quarterback. That's what you want to do as a head coach. But I don't think his ability to get to that second read or play off a broken play is necessarily a positive for him. I think it's in the neutral to kind of negative in terms of his talent and his traits. So that's kind of my read on it. I just don't think Beck's like, and I was the guy that thought Beck could have been a first-round pick or potentially the first quarterback off the board in last year's draft, just off how he was playing, because he was making some really good throws and his natural instincts looked well. But I think with the full body of work and seeing kind of the other side of the story, I mean, it's not all there for him in terms of Georgia's offense. And you know what?
I get the feeling when I watch Georgia, if they feel like they scheme or they call plays scared.
Yeah, this season they kind of do. And I mean, this was the thing. I don't know if they could have won that if they didn't get so many short fields against Texas. I don't know if they would have won that game, if I'm going to be completely honest. Obviously, Texas played very poorly as well, and the defensive line for Georgia played phenomenal. But you have one scoring drive above 50 yards. That's not repeatable. That's not going to win you games. You're not Iowa. I'm sorry. Which Iowa is actually a legit football program. How about it? They should be in the top. Iowa should be in the top 25.
Yes.
But
I was about to say 12, and I was like, no. But maybe around 20. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. Well, they're not ranked at all. So,
because they lost to a batshit Michigan State team.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't lose to Aiden Childs.
Yeah, it's not that hard, guys. Half the teams have beaten Michigan State this year that they've played. So, but my final point is that like when it comes to playoff time, it comes to having to make a game-winning drive. I don't trust this Georgia play calling nor Carson Beck, and that's the reason why I don't think like there's a difference between Will Howard and Ohio State. Ohio State's actually been like pretty good at scheming open plays. And I know they had the Will Howard slide at the end of that Oregon game. Dude, tell me a team that's going to go make a game-winning drive in Autzen Stadium. Tell me.
Michael
maybe my
Washington Huskies.
That's true. Well, yeah, but I mean, you have 3 NFL receivers, an NFL quarterback, multiple NFL offensive linemen.
Oregon, I thought Oregon was better than them last year, and I got proven wrong twice. So
yeah, I was on the Washington hype train preseason wise, dude. I as soon as I watched that team spring game and saw some of the stuff last year, as a big Penix guy after he left Indiana, I loved Adunze, and I was like, dude, this team and their defense was solid enough to get stuff done. They had a bunch of like Hawaiians on their team and players.
That's how the Pac-12 rolls. They go and get Samoans to fill out. The Big Ten gets their corn-fed white guys. The Pac-12 gets their Samoan guys to fill out their lines.
And then Georgia football gets Harris County Jail.
Yes.
Anyways,
they go through the youth detention facilities and say, "Oh, you're 300 pounds. Come here.
Oh, you run a 4.4? Oh,
we got a home for you."
That's terrible.
Here's a new Mustang. Don't crash it.
But they don't crash it. They just speed and get intoxicated before.
It's not true.
That's besides the point. Jeez. Let's talk about this Clemson upset. Oh boy.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch this game. I should have.
Dude, Clemson really or Louisville didn't really play that well in terms of you box score watch.
Yeah.
But there was just a level of physicality. And I'll say the unsung hero is the Louisville defensive back room. They got like 8 or 9 pass deflections this game. They made Cade Klubnik's life hell. And Antonio Williams wasn't getting open. Beeringstool wasn't getting open. Nobody on this Clemson offense was getting open. And Cade Klubnik was like, oh my God, what do I got to do? Phil Maffa actually played pretty well, but he got a lot of his yards in garbage time. Isaac Brown was a very nice piece as he's continued to progress over the season and looks to continue the tradition of amazing Louisville running back. Shout out Isaac Arendo and shout out Jawar Jordan. I'm obviously biased towards Louisville. Shout out to them getting my upset pick of the week too. I got 2 of them right technically, but technically I predicted both those games to be upset. And you know what? On my FanDuel account, they both cashed me some money. So you know what? But no, I'll just say this is the first upset pick of the week I've gotten right in a while. So I'm a little bit on my high horse.
You're the only one that's gotten these right, I swear.
Yeah, it's because I don't know. I think I try to find some sort of advantage, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think on the Clemson side of things, When you're down 33 to what was it? I think it was when they were at an 18-point deficit. I'm trying to go strictly off memory. I'm gonna have to look at the play-by-play here.
17 plus 9, 26-7 going into the fourth quarter.
Right. Well, that first score. Okay. Was it that first score? Or was it when? Yeah. When Clemson scored a touchdown, but they didn't go for two. Because if you get that 2-point conversion, it's 11-point game. And then if you get another touchdown and get a 2-point conversion, it's 3-point game. You get the field goal. And obviously, this has to play really in your favor. But if you
That's
get that
a
field
lot
goal,
of scoring.
but you got to get into overtime. I know Clemson's offense was able to score a lot before this game, but just I guess, conservative style of coaching, because they weren't pushing the ball down the field either. They were running the ball with Phil Maffa, and the conservative approach from Dabo Swinney, which has kind of been, his approach at Clemson in terms when it comes to the transfer portal, when it comes to the offense, when it comes to, all sort of just kind of just like not conservative, but passive approach, I should say. And you know what? You're going to get beat by a team. You're going to get beat by Louisville if if you can't step up and make those big decisions. I think Dabo Swinney is an excellent. If you look at the resume, look at a whole body of work. Dabo Swinney is an amazing coach. Ever since post-COVID, nah. And Clemson's got talent, man. I really have liked this team. I've been probably one of the higher guys on Clemson this year, and the highest guy in our podcast.
By far the highest guy on Clemson.
And I just I like this team, man. I like the pieces it has, but I also don't think Klubnik's he was playing well against, subpar ACC competition. I don't like, I've said this since Cade Klubnik's stepped on campus in Clemson. I don't like him as a player. I don't like him as a quarterback. I won't say I don't like him as a player. I don't really know him personally, but as a quarterback, I don't really like him that much. To lead a program, lead a team, yada yada yada. He just doesn't. When I watched his high school tape, I'm like, could be a good college player, not an NFL player at all. So, and I don't understand why he was rated 5 stars, but you know what? Not my point. I know you said you didn't watch this game, which crazy.
I was at National Guard, okay?
Yeah, I was driving home, actually.
I didn't get released from duty until 7:30. Yeah. I had a long day.
I definitely was not watching my phone on my phone mount and watching Clemson Louisville on the way home. That's besides the point.
Never would do that.
Nope. Did you see South Carolina versus Texas A&M?
A little bit. Yeah, I saw pieces of that, though.
Okay. Dude, Texas A&M has a QB problem, and it's kind of like what it's been the notion around college football in the past couple of years. If you have 2 QBs, you have none. And that's kind of Texas A&M's problem. I know they went with Marcel Reed, but they haven't really, it's hard to get chemistry with your teammates and continue to get better with game flow and game script and experience when you're, only out there half the time. And Williams-Brice, people talk about, oh, nobody goes into Kyle Field. It comes out with the win. Nobody goes into Williams-Brice at night specifically and comes out with the win. It's a tough
Nobody.
I thought Lenora Sellers, he wasn't accurate, but he played well. He made big plays. He had over 100 rushing yards on the ground too, along with Rocket Sanders. This South Carolina team just got it done, man. Their defensive line played really well. Their defense collectively just played really well. And I'll say it, the offensive line did no sacks on Lenora Sellers. No sacks. That's when you're doing something right.
I mean, yeah, they just beat A&M into submission.
I didn't watch. I honestly watched a condensed version of this game. I wasn't able to get a full 60-minute game clock view, but from what I saw, just South Carolina made big plays and they used that momentum, and their fans used that momentum. They got out to an early 14-3 lead, and then Texas A&M kind of came back, and then South Carolina just absolutely dominated in the second half. 0 points for A&M. So
it was the story of 2 halves. I saw that much about this game. going into halftime, I was like, okay, A&M figured their shit out. They're gonna roll. They're starting to move the ball a little bit better, or better. They weren't moving it at all to start.
Yep.
And then South Carolina just said, "Fuck
Nope.
off. This is our house, and we're gonna run for 200 yards on your face."
Right.
They just absolutely kicked their teeth in, and A&M. It was the fuck. You've seen The Big Lebowski, right?
Yep.
It was just the fucking toilet bowl, just fucking shoving A&M back into the toilet bowl. They couldn't. South Carolina took their lunch money.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty impressed with how South Carolina played. And you know what? That team's kind of had a tough schedule all year, and they've been able to get it done. Now, where do we want to go with this? Is there any games you wanted to talk about specifically? Because I've been talking about all the games that have been on my mind. Is there anywhere you want to go specifically?
I mean, there's a couple. I want to talk a little about Army Air Force. That's because no one's going to care about it but me. So I'm going to keep it really brief.
I'm going to be honest. I know Bryson Daly didn't play, which was huge for them, but
yeah, it was kind of just a shit show all around. Like no one could really do anything. I mean, it was Army all season. I've been saying they're not an academy school this year. They're not a service academy. They play actual football, even if they're playing the option still. But this was the most service academy football game you've ever seen. Like it was depressing, and I understand now why.
I know it hit the under.
Yeah.
So
it was. Oh, they ran for 15 yards, and then they just lost 3 yards on 2 back-to-back sacks or tackles for loss. And okay, like they played the game within 40 yards. It felt like.
Yeah.
Other game, we probably should touch on Duke, Miami.
Yeah. Okay. I did. This is one of the games that I wanted to go back to. Talk about Miami needs to learn to play complete football games, dude, because it's just been. They play good for 2-3 quarters. Like they started out this game super hot in the first quarter, and then the second quarter and third quarter, it's kind of like, what are we doing here? You know? And then in the fourth quarter, Miami's just like, nope, Cam Ward, just go make amazing plays, do what you do, and we'll come out of here with the win. That's really if you want to dumb down or podcast for dummies, that's a best way to describe what happened between Miami and Duke. But Miami's defense, bro. The pass rush hasn't been as good as it was to begin the season. Their secondary's not like great. I know they got 3 picks, but Malik Murphy was trying to make some big hero plays in that game. And Duke made some really impressive catches as well from their receivers. But yeah, man, Miami's going to be undefeated this season. They're going to go to the ACC championship. And they're not going to get a real test from anyone. Like Georgia Tech, like Haynes King's okay. It's not great.
No, they won't get tested until they play SMU.
I mean, like, their toughest game this season's been Louisville. And Louisville's a good football team. But, like, any college football playoff opponent,
I guess Florida, they went to the swamp.
Yeah, but they kicked the shit out of Florida.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, Virginia Tech's not a bad team. When Drones is healthy, I know they ended up losing in overtime to Syracuse, and that game was stupid. But
Cal, they barely escaped. That was in California though.
Yeah, and this is what I mean though. Like obviously, you're gonna kick the shit out of Florida State because it's Florida State in 2024. Okay, because someone didn't eat the dog poop, they're screwed forever. No, but like this has just been Miami football this year. Hey, we're gonna win very close games, even though we're more talented than them by a mile. But we only decide. Yeah, I think it's Cristobal. If I'm going to be completely honest, Cristobal and his staff. I don't think it's necessarily the players. And if Miami did not have Cam Ward, we would have seen this trend with Miami that we've seen ever since the glory days from back in the 2000s. where they're just like 7-5, 6-6, maybe a nice 8-4 season, maybe a bad 4-8 season. Like, if they didn't have Cam Ward, and they have talent on this roster, man, but like I said, they just haven't had a really good coach. Like, I know Colorado's playing really well, and they have two of the best players in the country, but Dion goes down there, dude. He might be able to change that culture and get some big time players and get some big time football down there. That's probably not a great example. I'm not going to say DeBoer.
I mean, Prime got the best player in the country to go to Jackson State.
So. Right. That is, well, I'm just saying, like, actually in quality of football, that might still be a problem there. Trying to think of a head coach that's good. Like, if Mike Elko went to Miami, I think, like, you would see.
I don't think Elko would survive going to Miami.
Yeah, I think he's at Texas A&M, which is arguably.
You know who Miami needs?
Who?
They need to start chopping.
No.
They need Tucker to go down there with all his issues.
Not need you know what though? If Mark Stoops wanted to go down there, Kentucky's head coach, or like Matt Campbell from Iowa State, like they need someone to like establish a culture, because I think that's been Miami's biggest problem. Like, Miami still doesn't really get people to go to Hard Rock Stadium on Saturdays. And obviously it's 45 minutes off campus, blah, 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 blah. Dude, if you had a guy that could will people to come to Hard Rock on Saturdays, dude.
Kirk Cignetti.
Yeah, Kurt Cignetti, or if we wanted to go to the NFL, like a Dan Campbell-esque coach, like it's just someone that gets fired up about this team. Because Mario's kind of a laid back, like behind the scenes, you know. That's what they need, but I don't know. There's only
maybe if Pierce gets fired, he goes to Miami. Antonio Pierce with the Raiders.
Yeah, maybe. There's one more game I want to hit on. That's it, and then we're done. We are not going to talk about Indiana because that just doesn't need to be discussed on this.
You're right. They're going to win the Big Ten. It's it. It's been decided.
Tennessee, you could barely. You have Gavin Wimsatt and an injured Brock Vandagriff only lose to you by 10. I know Kentucky's defense is good, but this Kentucky team's not the same team that played Georgia. They are a little bit more banged up.
Yeah.
I think Dylan Sampson is an amazing running back. Nico, like, kept it simple. Fumbles, you know, they happen. I don't know. I don't think this Tennessee team's necessarily playing all that great right now. And I've said this for weeks. Ever since Tennessee started SEC conference play, they have not looked like the team that they were at the beginning of the season. And that's
because they're an SEC team and they play cupcakes to start the year.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, the Arkansas loss doesn't look good. The win versus Oklahoma is not impressive. You beat Alabama, but that's a injured Jalen Milroe, and is Alabama really that good this season? I don't know. And then Florida, cool. You won it at home, and then you beat Kentucky at home. You know what? They will probably finish the season 10-2, and they probably will make the college football playoff. But if they lose to fucking Vandy, which is possible, keep that in mind. That is very in play here.
We do push the Vandy agenda pretty hard.
Yeah. But, dude, if they get mollywopped by Georgia, like, I still think Georgia is better than Tennessee. I know Georgia lost to Alabama, but I think that game's played right now, and they have a healthy Michael Williams, dude. Freaking that game goes a lot different. Yeah, I don't think really Tennessee's, like, they've not proven to be that good. They're around where I think Penn State is in terms of my mind. So yeah, that's what it is. But
I think Penn State, Tennessee, A&M, they're all in that, like, it could be really good.
A&M
to figure out.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of power rating, they're kind of all around the same area. Yeah. Obviously, you're going to rank A&M a little bit lower with having two losses now.
It's what we've been saying, though. It's like there's 6 good teams in the country, and then like 20 to 30 probably could compete with each other.
Yeah.
Now, how good each of them are, talent will vary, but like I'd put Vandy in that group of 20.
Colorado's winning the national championship.
No, they're not.
They could make the playoff though. It's very in play.
It would be electric to host a playoff game in Boulder, though.
Yes, it would be. Well, they might
Like,
get. Well,
The
actually, Big
internet
12,
would explode.
the Big 12 bid might actually be the 12 seed because shout out to Boise State being at 12, man. Way to handle business against San Diego State and also make me a little bit of money. Yeah, in terms of these college football playoff rankings, I'm a fan of the Ohio State at 2. I am kind of a fan of. I'm not a fan. Here's what I'll say. I think Indiana and BYU should be above Penn State and Tennessee. They're both undefeated. They both Indiana's in a power conference. Say what you want about, oh, they haven't played anyone that good, dude. The margin of victory for Indiana has been nothing but spectacular, and they really haven't given any reason of doubt other than they haven't played an exceptionally good team. That's really it. BYU's beaten SMU, man. That's a team. They beat Kansas State. You still have them in the top 25. Get with the times, please, and thank you.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, arguably, I would
honestly, I know Notre Dame.
BYU at 5, and then
they're
Indiana
not going to put
at 7.
They're not going to put them above Texas. That's too big of a brand. And I mean, Texas is arguably lost versus Georgia, but we'll see if Texas could lose to A&M later in the season. But we'll get into that when that's the time that stuff needs to come. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I'm agreeing with basically what you're saying. I like Georgia. Well, wait, am I looking at the wrong rankings here? Yeah, I'm looking at AP. God damn it. I was wait, why is Georgia at 2?
Actually, the top 10 of the AP and college football playoff rankings are eerily similar other than Ohio State and Georgia. That's really good.
I've been tooting Indiana's horn really hard this year. I think they are way better than most people think they are.
Especially, I want to see how their defense stacks up against a legit team, but other than that, I'm pretty certain about the offense.
Dude, Rourke came out with a glove on, having surgery last week.
Yeah,
and
I think I think Indiana, their problem is going to be their secondary. I think their pass rush is probably going to stay still relatively successful. It's just I'm concerned if they can get beat pretty bad in the secondary because we saw Nick Marsh in that first quarter, man. It was looking bad there for Indiana for a second. Obviously, they would win 47-10, but that's besides the point. I honestly, I probably as of late, I probably like Notre Dame better than Tennessee. If I'm going to be completely honest. Obviously, resume wise, if you wanted to look at it, and that's also what the college football playoff rankings are based off of. A loss to Northern Illinois does not help your resume, but unless they win the MAC championship, then I guess it's not that bad of a loss.
I don't know. Northern Illinois looking. Hang on.
I don't know. I'm
curious now that
I turn on MACtion. I don't really pay attention to actual conference standings and how is it going to all play out. Even though I might
don't look at the actual teams, just watch the game.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot that this is how they do this.
What?
Because they play weekday games. Their week 10 only had 2 teams.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, they lost to Buffalo. They lost to NC State. They lost to Toledo. They lost to Ball State. Sucks. What the fuck? Okay, Northern Illinois is going to lose probably 2 more games.
Yeah.
They're already 4-4. They're probably finishing off 6-6.
Yeah. The only reason why I think Alabama is even ranked at 11 above Boise is because they have Missouri ranked, which is criminal.
It's because
seriously, put Vandy in above Missouri. They're better. Put South Carolina in. They're better. You have Louisville as a 3-loss team in there. Why not spread?
They have the 8-0 Army Black Knights at 25.
That's gonna happen though. Army's schedule has been I know. It's
because but then also Boise they've played Oregon, and beyond Oregon, who else have they played?
But the Mountain West is like they've played better. Like UNLV is a quality opponent. Like that's better than anyone Army's played on their schedule. Washington State's a ranked win. I don't know how
Not
much.
anymore.
Yeah, they are. They're ranked in the college football playoff.
You right. Never mind.
Like they have an only 3-point loss to Oregon. Like I get why Boise State. And dude, Maddox Madsen's been looking pretty good recently. Like they look more than just Ashton Ginty, which is good for them. I'm really concerned about their defense though. They ever have to play anybody. SMU should be I think SMU should be above Bama and probably honestly above Boise State. In my opinion. Texas A&M's been good, except for the loss to South Carolina, but they're going to be ranked above LSU. They didn't play Ole Miss this season, have they? No, they haven't. They don't. So, but LSU has the head-to-head over Ole Miss. So Ole Miss might be the most underrated team in the country, or most overlooked, I should say. Most overlooked, I should say.
Yes.
They looked really good against Arkansas, and if they continue to play that way, it should be good news. It should.
I mean, once conference play started, they've kind of had the same thing as Tennessee. Like they've kind of struggled once they started SEC play.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Like Jackson Dart is not a Heisman contender like we thought he would be.
Yeah. And then other than that, I mean, Iowa State drops 17. Pitt stays at 18 with their loss, which they dropped to 23 in the AP. Kansas State at 19, Colorado 20, Washington State, Louisville. Shout out the Cards, baby. 23 Clemson, 24 Missouri, and 25 Army. So, yeah, I mean, it's the first edition. There's the month of November is where teams die and teams thrive. So, honestly, not too concerned right now. Let's take a quick look at the 4th and goal poll. Oregon at 1, Georgia at 2, Penn State at 3, Ohio State 4, Miami 5, Texas 6, Indiana 7, Texas A&M 8, BYU 9. Oh, wait, this is the wrong poll. Where's the new one? I'm so sorry, guys. I got this.
So unprofessional.
Wow. You know what? It's because I don't change the file names ever.
That could be a problem one day.
That could be a problem. I guess I'll have to read it to you guys off my phone. And if you want to go check out the visual graphic for it, go to our TikTok or Instagram, or Twitter, which you should anyways. And make sure you leave us a follow and also subscribe on the YouTube channel. But I'll just read it out for you. Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Miami 4, Texas 5, Indiana 6, Notre Dame 7, BYU 8, Tennessee 9, SMU 10, Ole Miss at 11, and Penn State at 12. They were tied with Bama, but me and Andrew both put them on our ballot. We didn't have Alabama on our ballot. And Justin's like, oh, I'm a big SEC homer, so I'm going to put Alabama on my ballot. And then I know you had Army was the other receiving vote with 1 because of Andrew. So he has a little bit of a brand bias right there. And then let's talk about our players of the week. Jordan Watkins was my player of the week. 8 receptions, 254 yards for 5 touchdowns at the receiver position. Did a really good job in the win versus Arkansas. Marion Hampton for North Carolina, 172 rushing yards, 93 receiving yards, 5 total touchdowns. And Andrew, he went with the Baylor boy, Bryson Washington, which that team's been playing really well, and Dave Aranda has saved his job. Shout out Sawyer Robertson, dude. He's like a top 15 quarterback in college football right now. 26 carries, 196 yards, 7.5 yards on the ground, and 4 touchdowns. He also had like 15 receiving yards, but I wasn't going to put that in the graphic.
Dude, he's done. Talk about a guy that came out of nowhere for a week. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the rest of his season stats.
Is he going to go back to like 60 yards on like 4 yards per carry? Oh, we'll see.
Hey, but he put up. He was a fucking dog this weekend.
Yeah, that's all that really matters. Baylor's the second half of the season team, man. If they could have started the season like this, bro, who knows? Baylor might be in the Big 12 playoff projection and might be the team that wins it all for them. Let's hit we spent way too much time on college football.
We did. Let's do a blitz on the NFL really quick.
Yeah. First off,
we can't call that a blitz. It's okay. We're gonna call
Lions.
it a blitz.
Lions. How about it? Winning Green Bay.
How about
Brian
the Motor City
Branch.
Kitties?
Yeah. They're just playing really well. And it's not like the offense is doing anything particularly amazing, dude. It's just the defense is setting us up really well. And the special teams, too. They're doing a pretty good job as well. So it's just like, obviously, Sonic and Knuckles are doing a pretty good job running the ball. Jared Goff, like, he's probably not going to win the MVP because he really hasn't had to do that much. I mean, he's only had to throw 22 passes and the Lions won. Now, weather implications obviously come into effect in this game as well. There's no reason to throw the ball 50 times in the rain like if you're the Cowboys and Dak Prescott.
One told Jordan Love that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. And I mean, Josh Jacobs was running the ball, but they were also down 17-3. So you got to play a little bit of a hurry up mode right there. And then eventually 24-6 and, rest history in that game. So Lions improved to 7-1. Biased or not, they're the best team in the NFL right now, objectively.
There's no bias there. They're playing the most complimentary football out of any team in the NFL. Jared Goff is on an absolute barn burner with his accuracy, taking what the defense is giving him. There's too many weapons on this offense. Like, just someone's open every single play. He just has to find them. And it's also Terrion Arnold hasn't been called for a penalty since week 4, or a pass interference penalty. Knock on wood, but
yeah. Not that I want to talk about the Ravens-Broncos game, but dude, Bo Nix might be an actual legit receiver.
A receiver?
Yeah, he had a receiving touchdown.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that play. Bo Nix and Jared Goff are like the top. They're the best receivers in the NFL.
Dude, if we got Peyton Thorne in the NFL somehow,
touchdown percentage.
If we got Peyton Thorne in the NFL somehow too, oh my gosh, it'd be bananas. God, the Cowboys stink once again. Atlanta wins at home. Dude, like, my foot's asleep right now.
Dude, talk about Kirk Cousins though. Kirk Cousins Kirk Cousins, because that's what he's. That's what
it's Kirko changed. Moneybag Kirk. That's what he's known in ATL.
I know. They call him Chains now. They don't even call him Kirk. Like,
he is Chains Cousins.
Dude's
that sounds like a really bad like SoundCloud rapper.
It does. But instead it's a quarterback in the NFL. And I feel bad for Michael Penix, dude. Why did they draft him?
Because when Kirk, he's just gonna sit there as trade value, or he'll be the starting quarterback when he's 29, and you know what, he'll have plenty of time to be ready to develop. I mean, there's nothing wrong with. Obviously, Michael Penix is one of those guys that wants to compete and play, but it might be good for him to like let his body like fully recover and be at
get the Hendon Hooker experience. Just sit behind an MVP candidate for a couple of years.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what should happen. Shout out Darnell Mooney this season, man.
Dude.
He has been. I knew there was something I liked from him in Chicago, and he's been on a tear recently. He's doing pretty well.
Starting from that Bucks Thursday night football game. Game. He's just when he went for like 140. Yeah. He's just been on a tear ever since. It's been really nice to see just the resurgence of his career. Also, we have to talk about not a resurgence of a career, but a guy who looks like he's actually enjoying football again, Saquon, and his fucking ninja move to jump over someone.
That's a very good way of describing it. Fucking ninja move.
Yeah. Also, that will be on a t-shirt. Fucking ninja move.
We need to actually start making these t-shirts.
And then Saquon's just ass jumping over someone. Fucking ninja move.
How about the Saints losing their 7th game of the row? Shout out Bryce Young, baby, getting his first win as a starter this season.
I want to look at the Cowboys record really quick. Give me 1 second.
They're 3-5.
Oh, I'm almost right with my prediction that I made in week 4. After the Giants game, I asked if they were going to win another game, and they edged out that Steelers game, but now they've gotten the last 3 weeks. And now the next 3 weeks, they've got Eagles, Texans, Commanders.
The Vikings are able to bounce back against the Colts after taking 2 straight losses. Sam Darnold looks like he's going to try and get back to that MVP form. And I mean, dude, the Vikings are good, man.
They are.
It's so weird to me. It doesn't sit with me that they're actually like a competent football team. We talked about how the Jets won on Thursday night.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Do I have
this
to?
This is probably not politically correct, but is Aaron Rodgers just gonna have the resurgence of his career after the change in the Oval Office? Is it crazy to assume that?
Has he been bad since he left off? Yeah, kind of.
Well,
His
2020
last MVP was 2020.
Yeah, and then 2021
which for all of 2020 the man was in office, so maybe.
Well, yeah, until January, which is inevitably when they lost. I don't know. I was just making a joke there.
I think you made a joke and we just made it make sense.
Yeah. Commanders are 7-2. They got Marshawn Lattimore. Zadarius Smith to the Lions is another big move there. Jonathan Mingo went to the Cowboys. I don't know if that matters. I'm just trying to remember trades.
No, that one doesn't matter at all.
Any other trades off the top of my head that I can think of that actually
not on the day?
Well, trade deadline period.
Well, D-Hop going to the Chiefs and saving the game.
About D-Hop. I don't care about the Chiefs. If they win the Super Bowl, it's rigged.
D-Hop went off though, didn't he have 130 yards?
Yeah, he had 86 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce had a 100-yard receiving game.
Dude, he's the first player over 34 to catch 14 passes in a game.
I can't believe they went to him that much. I didn't really watch this game because I kind of had a feeling the Buccaneers were going to do very well.
They had a chance. Go for 2.
They're not consistent at running the football.
They should have gone for 2.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you don't play the Chiefs in overtime.
Exactly. Go for 2 to win the game.
Bengals are trying. They won their first game at home. They won their game at home.
The Bengals aren't very good. I apologize to Bengals fans. Your team sucks.
Cardinals, dude. How about it? They're 5-4. They could win the NFC West.
I was big on. I still think the Rams are going to win the West now that they're healthy. Yeah. But the Cardinals,
this team could be a wild card playoff spot because especially after beating the Bears, dude.
Well, the Cardinals need the Vikings to lose a bunch of games.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
They need the Vikings to lose a couple that they shouldn't. Because I think as a lock right now, the Packers and the Lions are both going to the playoffs. Either as the division winner or the first.
Well, and then Eagles are probably going to make it too.
Eagles, Commanders, Falcons, Lions, Packers, Rams.
But Arizona's probably can win the division still. I mean, it's a very tight race.
Right.
But let's take a look at their schedule. They play the Jets.
That's a gimme.
Well, maybe. They play at Seattle. That one will probably get a little crazy.
At Minnesota.
Yeah, that'll be a pivotal game to determine their postseason success.
That's
but then
you
have the
Patriots.
And they have the Patriots and Panthers. Well, Seahawks, Patriots, Panthers, and then at the Rams, and then home against the Niners. They have a very good shot of controlling their own destiny. And dude, you played the Commanders, you played the Packers, you played the Lions, you played the Bills, you played the Chargers, who aren't half bad.
They have had one of the hardest schedules in the NFL.
Yeah, and they're still above 500. How about Kyler Murray, dude? Being able to come back off the couch of playing, it's actually Black Ops 6 season right now, so maybe we see a decrease in his play.
I haven't seen anything on my fantasy team yet. He hasn't stopped. Actually, he has. He's been so inconsistent.
That's just kind of Kyler Murray. But he's leading his team to wins. He's playing efficient at quarterback with a 6-7 completion percentage, 7.1 yards per attempt, which is solid in the NFL. and then an 11-3 touchdown interception ratio. So like, and he's able to run the ball too, 8.1 yards per carry, which he should probably run the ball more. 2 touchdowns. So how about it? Yeah, dude. Who would have expected the Cardinals to make the playoffs? Not me.
I did not.
Oh my God, the AFC stinks, dude. What the heck?
Yeah, the AFC. We did a total 180 of what conference was good. The AFC kind of blows, and the NFC
stinks.
The NFC has probably 5 or I'm going to say 7 of the top 10 teams in the NFL in it.
Well, okay. How about this? To end the show, let's make a top 10 list.
Okay.
Number 1, the Detroit Lions. Fair. I don't want to hear an argument for it.
I'm not going to argue with you. As long as number 2, you have the Chiefs, because unfortunately,
I have the Chiefs number 2.
Ravens
number 3.
Or no, I don't want to go. I want to go Bills.
I'd put the Bills at 3. So Bills at 3. We need to be right. I'll write this down.
I'm writing it down in the chat.
Okay. All right. Cool. Number 4.
Ravens. No, I want Ravens probably sit at 5. Eagles
I'd put
Commanders at 4. Yeah.
Or we'll put the Ravens at 5.
At 6.
The Eagles.
Yeah.
7. It's just tough.
Falcons.
I was going to say Falcons and then Vikings probably.
So we're at 3, 6, 8. We have 2 more spots.
Wait, what? I thought we had 3 more. We just did 6 and
3.
Oh no, we did 7. We did 7 and 8. Yep. Okay. Okay. You got to put the Steelers in the top 10 somewhere, probably at 9.
I feel like we're missing a team that should go above the Steelers.
Who? The Packers?
Oh, we don't have the Packers on this list.
Put the Packers at 9. Put the Packers.
No, the Packers cannot go below the Vikings.
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
Don't the Vikings have? Yeah, the Vikings have a head-to-head win versus the Packers.
All right. So our top 10 goes Lions, Chiefs, Bills, Commanders, Ravens, Eagles, Falcons, Vikings, Packers, Steelers.
Yeah, that's a good list to me.
And AFC teams is 1, 2, 3,
4.
4.
Yeah. So a 6-4 advantage.
The AFC is very top heavy, and then there's nothing.
Yeah, like if we were to do a whole list of the 32, I bet the bottom 4 teams come. Well, actually, no, because the Panthers exist.
No, but it would be Panthers.
Like there's
Jags,
more like I guess
Colts.
sense of mediocrity in the NFC, or not mediocrity, but better mediocrity.
The mean of the NFL is in the NFC.
Yeah. Wow, way to use grade school. I guess that was like not grade school.
It popped up every couple of years.
Yeah. God, when did we first learn about mean median mode? I want to say
6th grade, and then freshman year in Algebra 1.
Well, I was a smart kid, so I did algebra in 8th grade.
Oh, fuck you then. My average ass did Algebra 1. Actually, sophomore year, I did pre-algebra freshman year.
The Northville School public education system.
Hey, number 7 in the country. Don't you forget it. Or in the state. Sorry.
Okay. Well,
I don't know why I know that. I think I saw a TikTok about it the other day. They were
dude, my TikTok has been getting way too local lately.
They've really triangulated where I'm at and what I've done in my life. I get a terrifying mix of football, military, and local shit that it's kind of scary.
Yeah. All right.
Just giving my information to the Chinese government.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
No, just don't hack me, please.
Okay, that's fair enough. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to the 4th and Goal podcast. Make sure you follow us on our socials, and if you're watching, you can see it above both our beautiful faces. And if you're listening on audio, it's at 4th and Goal pod. Want to thank Andrew for joining me today on this Wednesday afternoon. We didn't get Justin. Where is he? Is he dead? Kidding.
I hope not. That guy owes me money.
Yeah. For what?
I don't know. I was just saying it.
Oh, okay. We should have an episode out for you tomorrow night, maybe Friday morning, depending on what time we go. Might do it live streamed. We don't know. For our previews heading into this week, college football wise, it should be an okay weekend.
Let me look. Week 10.
Week 11.
Week 11. Why am I in the MAC still?
This is a great league.
Florida, Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss will be good.
Yeah.
There's not a ton. Oh, Alabama, LSU.
Yeah. We'll have a lot to talk about. The NFL.
BYU will be a big game.
Oh, dang it. The Lions play on Sunday night. I hate Sunday night games.
Though, if you want to watch our Indiana Hoosiers absolutely kick the shit in of Michigan in Bloomington, tune in.
Oh, there's probably going to be an upset in Columbus on Saturday. 2 weeks? No, it's this Saturday.
Who does Ohio State play?
Purdue.
Oh, Boilermakers. Are they going to lose to Indiana schools back-to-back weeks?
No.
The state of Indiana owns Ohio now? Is that what I'm hearing?
They might. Miami Georgia Tech could be an interesting game.
Notre Dame win the last trip to Columbus too?
No, I don't remember. I'm not positive.
I would say 2 years ago they went to Columbus.
Even though Clemson stinks, Clemson Virginia Tech will be a good game. Duke NC State. Texas Tech Colorado is going to be a pretty big game. Oh, that'll be one to break down. Dude, the Commodores and the Cox, that'll be a great game.
Oh, Army North Texas. It's the battle for the American.
Oh, North Texas ain't been that bad. Oh, no. We thought Notre Dame, Florida State was going to be a huge game. Boy, weren't we wrong.
We thought that'd be a classic.
Washington, Penn State will be interesting. Nevada, Boise State. Even though Nevada's record sucks, they're better than what their record says they are.
There's lots of good football to watch this weekend.
There's always great football to watch. There's great football to watch tonight. You can watch Ohio, Kent State. Okay, maybe not that game, but Northern Illinois.
Ohio, Kent. Never mind.
Northern Illinois versus Western Michigan should be.
Go watch the Northern Illinois roll into the zoo and get their ass kicked.
Yeah, could go to the game tonight. $7.
Hey, I could get in for free, dude. I got connections in Kansas.
I'm not going to.
I have to work tonight. I can't drive.
I was gonna say I have a game to call actually.
I work in about 50 minutes. So,
WAC quarterfinals, women's soccer tonight. We had men's soccer yesterday, so it should be fun. It'll be
listen to your boy Noah talk, wearing his Ashton Jean t-shirt.
Yeah, as always. All right, Andrew. I will see you probably tomorrow.
Probably.
All right. See ya.
Peace.